fundamentally, the reason we have a digital transformation going on is because technology is changing the way businesses do business. So in my book, digital transformation occurs when you realize that your business no longer is in the business of trying to maximize the number of products you sell, but to maximize the value your customers create. Because you can interact with customers individually, because you can treat different customers differently. These are things that are made possible by technology. There are two tasks that you have to do to compete today. Using technology, I can now focus on one customer at a time and try to satisfy as many of that customer's needs as possible, okay? Now here's the thing. If you're operating in the customer-centric direction, then your job is to manage the public's perception of your product, because customers are anonymous. They're part of an audience. So you do your brand, you have a unique selling proposition for your product, you have good advertising. But if you're operating in the customer dimension, you have to focus on each individual customer's experience with your product or service. That's why the experiences become so important, because technology now permits companies to focus on individual customers. I would argue there are three principal components, okay? In an age of increasing automation and robotics and chatbots and machine learning, it's really, really important to maintain humanity within your business. So rule number one, treat the customer the way you'd like to be treated if you were the customer. Number two, realize that your employees are going to play an increasingly important role, not a lesser role, but a more important role, because the more you automate the routine things, the more you need to rely on human beings to make more complex decisions. So you want your employees to be engaged with you in their jobs, to be motivated to work in the customer's interest, and enabled. They have to be armed with the right tools and data. And you want your employees to be able to self-organize, in a sense, to solve problems. I mean, you can't write a process rule or a line of code that requires employees to delight the customer. Each employee has to want to delight the customer. So one of your jobs, and to succeed in the new world, is to have employees who really want the customer experience to be really good. And the third thing is to facilitate that kind of employee involvement and self-organization, to create an organization of the future that's no longer a top-down bureaucracy, but it's much more an agile, lean organization where people act on their own initiative, be fallible, admit it, apologize for mistakes, move on. No one is perfect, and neither are you. And people realize that, they can accept that. But learn from mistakes, move on, test, respond, test, respond. Most companies, when they come to me and say, well, it costs money to earn customers' trust because I have to give refunds faster and so on, well, I say, no, it's still profitable. You're just not using the right time frame, okay? If you measure your business quarter to quarter, you're going to have a quarterly successful business that could fail in the long term. You need to act in the customer's interest so the customer wants you to succeed. That's what makes a business successful in a disruptive economy. Of a bureaucratic, top-down, leader-led organization is not much longer for this world. I think in the future, even large organizations will tend to be more agile, more lean management, operating in squads, scrums, all the terms from the startup business that have made startups so successful are going to begin to characterize even larger organizations. We live in a disruptive age, and if you don't reinvent your business, somebody else will. So you should constantly be reinventing your business and thinking carefully about the mechanisms behind your customer relationships.